on What's Good podcast. We're here with Pat Tomasulo. Thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to talk a little bit more about what you have coming up and get to know you a little more through John Vincent and your friendship together.
And yeah, right. And the big thing I love about Pat is that I see that realness that I like in people, that realness, that fun, that person who is not afraid to be himself. So that, when I met him, I knew he had that in him. There was a connection, and there was a connection with these people like I had with Joe Madden, with Jason, with everybody that's coming on, that has that realness to it and that positivity. And especially with Pat working at WGN in sports, but also being a very successful stand-up comedian. He is hilarious, and laughter brings so much positivity into this world. And what do we want to do on here? We want to be positive.
God, I gotta have you write my EPK and my bio and all of that stuff. I should have you introduce me everywhere I go.
I'll do that. Whatever. Hey, you tell
Why
me
not?
to do that.
We got nothing else going on right now.
As long as I don't have to walk up more than one flight of stairs, I'll do it.
Come on, you walk up multiple stairs for me every year at Laugh Your Face Off.
I do.
You're
and
skipping all up there.
I parked on State Street, and I walked up the whole stairs from, was it State Wabash, up to Michigan Avenue. And I kind of ran up them. I had a bag of my Coke, my Cherry Coke Zeros, love Coke Zero, Coca-Cola. Hey, I love
Are they a sponsor? Are they a sponsor yet?
No, that's what I'm saying. Hey, Coca-Cola, how you doing?
Come on, get them in there.
Hey, there you go. Cherry Coke Zero, love it. My favorite of all time. So I went to 7-Eleven, grabbed those, ran up the stairs without holding the railing, which was good.
Good for you. Huh?
What?
This is what you got to do. You got to make use of this quarantine time.
We have to. Well, I made use by eating a lot, so that was not the best call, but it tastes good.
Oh, I had to get, when this whole thing started, my wife was cooking every day, and she still is, but I mean, like, she was looking up new recipes, and we were eating like 3-course meals every day. And it got to the point where I said, listen, I love you. Your food you got to stop, because I don't fit in any of my suits anymore. And I'm getting a big fat ass, and we need to stop this. And now, we're down to maybe once a week we're cooking. But my God, because there's nothing else to do. You go on Instagram, people are baking bread now. They're so bored. People are so bored, they're making bread, John. Do you know how far we have fallen as a society? We're to amuse ourselves, we're baking bread. This is
what are you talking about? My mother was baking bread years ago.
Right, but that's because they're old Italian ladies.
That's right. Now
they come from it. That's all they do is cook. My grandmother, I think, from the time she woke up, she just changed house coats and then went right into the kitchen and started cooking.
That's like my nonnas. That was like my nonnas. Oh yeah.
There was never enough you could eat to satisfy your grandma.
Yeah,
right?
But with me, I satisfied all of them because they're like, if you don't stop eating, there's no food left. I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
But listen, I mean, I don't know how much you ate as a kid, because when I was a kid, I mean, even now, I can eat, John. I mean, I may not be a big guy, but we have, like, I remember Amy's family members used to come, and her uncle was probably pushing 300 pounds, and we would go to that Brazos or that Fogo de Chao, one of those places.
Yeah.
He loved it. He's a big hillbilly from down Southwest Florida, come to the big city and just wants to eat meat. I would eat these guys under the table. I mean, I can eat. So no matter how much I ate, it was never enough for my grandmother. And there was never any normal portions. Like if she was feeding you, when I was in college, I used to intern in New York City 3 or 4 days a week, and I would stay at their place. They lived in Tribeca. And I would stay at their place. My grandmother would call me up and say, what do you want for dinner tonight? I don't care. Whatever you make is fine. You want a tuna fish sandwich? Sure, I'll have a tuna fish sandwich. I come home, 3 full tuna fish sandwiches stacked for me to eat. Like, there's never enough you can eat to satisfy an old Italian grandma.
I'm telling you, it was like that. I lost my one grandmother when I was in grade school. And I was small. I grew 8 inches junior to senior year in high school.
Jeez.
When that happened, and then I would go to family parties and stuff, I did have times when people were like, Johnny, that's not the people here. And I'm like, oh, shit, okay. So they did that thing until I got, to this And you're talking about pushing 300. This is somebody who's been over 400. So
Right.
I'm way past 3 right now.
But at that time, you were on the offensive line, weren't you? You needed to be.
Yeah, I don't need to be it now, but
Right.
I will make a confession. The most I ever ate was I went with my buddies to a road trip to University of Iowa, got really drunk, and I had 7 Whoppers. Not
Oh
kidding.
my God.
Not kidding. I was 21 years old or 20
Right.
years old.
Sometimes you gotta have 7 Whoppers.
Sometimes you gotta have 7
Sometimes
Whoppers.
You have to have 7 Whoppers.
Right?
But yeah, now I'm at a point in my life where if I have 7 bites of a Whopper, it's like it ruins me for 4 days.
You're crazy. If I have 7 bites of a Whopper, I want to get some fries. I want to get a chicken sandwich, and I'm ready for something else after that. It's starting. See, I put the foot on the gas, and then I hit it. You get a pizza in front of me, I have to eat the whole pizza. When I was drinking, I had to keep drinking.
Yeah.
With me, it's all or nothing. And I don't know where that comes from, but, it's not the best thing to have. But, it's hard to hold that restraint. For some reason, it's like, yeah, that bag of Twizzlers, if it's this or this, I'm eating the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Sometimes though, I think I have like a tapeworm because I'm never full. Ever.
I need to get one.
Like I just
I
have
was
to
hoping to get like a tapeworm in me, so that could help me.
I'll give you mine. I just have to cut myself off because nothing is ever. There's no amount of food that's ever enough.
So what was the most you've ever ate? 8?
Oh God, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't. I'm more of a in one sitting. I don't know. I've eaten entire pizzas in one sitting. I mean that's pretty routine. I don't know. I guess I've never really kept track. Maybe I should start from now on.
Pete's Pizza. I had a large deep dish and an extra large cheese pizza.
Oh, Pete's Pizza over on Western?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
There's SP Pete's Pizza, Coca-Cola, Burger King. Hello, everybody. I'm hungry. But I do love White Castles, and I had some White Castles the other day. I did one time have my mother take away a plate from me on Thanksgiving because I think it was like my 4th one, and she was worried about me. So she's like,
yeah,
no joke. And my sisters were just dying of laughter. She's like, that's it, that's enough.
So it wasn't like a subtle whisper in your ear. So she announced it at Thanksgiving dinner with an entire table full of family members.
Oh yeah, yes.
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably like 10 tacos.
10 tacos?
I eat a lot.
How you doing, sir? Very good.
Who's interrupting your podcast?
Nobody. The boss is here. So, that's not an interruption ever.
All right.
That's always you just say, thank you for letting me be here.
All right. I'm just making sure.
So let me hear about your stand-up, Pat, because a lot of people don't know about that, and that needs to be known more.
What do you want me to tell them about it? I'm not doing any of it right now because there's nowhere to do it.
That's normal. But why did you get in it?
I always, when I got into TV, I got into sports as a, as a way to do funny stuff. Like I think when I was in college was that era of ESPN and SportsCenter where all of these guys would do SportsCenter and then go, Craig Kilborn did The Daily Show and Keith Olbermann went and did his own show and Dan Patrick did his own thing. And so, I had no idea then, like when I was in high school and college, what you do to become a stand-up comedian. So I was like, all right, I'll do TV and I can do funny stuff on TV. And if I'm doing sports, then it's not necessarily like hard news and I'm not, doing the serious stuff. So I got into the business that way. And then when I came to Chicago and worked for GN, you get away with a lot more creatively there than you do any other news show, right? So I was able to do a lot more comedic stuff. And then once I was there a couple of years, I always knew like I was interested in doing stand-up. And so I waited until I was had enough value on the morning show where, I could branch out and do some other things. I don't want to start doing stand-up immediately. I wanted to kind of establish myself on the morning show. So once I was able to do that, I started doing stand-up about 10 years ago and doing it pretty regularly, going to hosting the open mic at the Laugh Factory and doing shows there and tagging along with guys who headline to try and get some spots on their shows as much as I could. And then those kind of, transitioned into shows of my own. And 10 years later, here we are. Yeah, I mean, kind of the whole pandemic, I mean, it sucked from a personal standpoint. I mean, listen, I say this all relatively, right? Like in comparison, my life is pretty awesome right now. I have nothing to complain about. I was actually getting ready, though, to record my first hour and produce it in December. But all that got put on hold with the pandemic. So that kind of sucked. So, hoping this things open up in the next 5 or 10 years and I can get out there again and get that thing on tape.
It's going to open up. It's going to open up. Humanity always thrives and survives. We want to, and that comes from why I have this podcast.
Yeah.
Love. Everything can get destroyed from fear, but love can never be destroyed. And I know sometimes it sounds corny, but the reality of it is when you do something good and you do something, and I know the first time you probably went on TV, the first time you did stand-up comedy, you had those butterflies and everything.
Yeah.
You wanted to go out there and make people laugh when you were doing stand-up, obviously, be accepted by the audience. But also when you were on TV and when you're up there doing sports and, when you're in something for a long time, it kind of gets routine.
Mm-hmm.
First few times you do it, it's a whole different experience. But again, I'm sure you wanted to go on TV. And again, you wanted to, like you said, I'm going into sports and it's not as heavy. It's not as deep. It's entertaining. So you want to entertain people. You want to make people feel good. Why?
Well, I don't know. Probably like every entertainer would say, a deep-rooted psychological need for acceptance. But past that, But
let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's anybody in a creative field. I shouldn't say anybody, but I think a lot of people on a deeper level,
right?
I tell my wife sometimes, I'm like, people have to be crazy to go into a business where your entire basic livelihood depends on the acceptance of others, right? Because it really is, or the approval, right? It's not necessarily like your whole value is judged on that, but people are either going to like it or they're not. They're either going to want what you do or they're not going to want what you do. And, that can, if you let it, that can mess with your head.
Has it messed with your head?
Not to a huge degree, but I think, anytime you do something that you're passionate about or something that you think is good or something that you think is going to make an impact, and it's not always going to be that way.
It doesn't affect you when you get negative comments on social media or anything like that? It affects me.
Say social media.
It affects me. It does. And it affects me a lot more, especially after I did the World Series and people would say, if they say something about my weight or the way I hold the note. And even now I did a commercial, and people right away, when John Vincent sings it, we can't stand the way he sings, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You look at that, and today it has maybe a 5 or 10% effect on me than when I first started. And when I first became kind of known with the whole World Series thing with the Cubs, that was a shock to me. The scrutiny, being on different shows. I think they had it like on Access Hollywood. They had me on all different stations. You guy had me on. Everybody had me on.
Yeah.
And I had to call people that were famous and said, hey, this is freaking me out. And then I had to learn and say, all the way what you just brought up, a deep-seated need for approval. I think that's with everybody.
Sure.
I think is once we admit that we need each other, because that's why there's cities. Most people congregate, get together, even small towns, people get together. We feed off each other's love, each other's connection. So cutting all through the bullshit, right? Saying, oh, it's this or that. You said right away, that need of acceptance. And what does that need of acceptance when you do, and you might not care if somebody writes something negative about you.
Yeah.
Right? But what happens when somebody writes something really positive about you and says they love your stand-up and you're hilarious and you're a great guy. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think it obviously it makes you feel good, right? But I think, you know, I try and always consider how I feel about the work, right? I mean, I try and always. So in other words, you know, you take the good compliments, you take the criticism, for lack of a better word, and you know, it's not like you don't listen to all that stuff, but you kind of have to filter it through your own value system and your own thoughts of what you did, right? And that's not to say it doesn't. It obviously feels nice to know that, you know, you make an impact on somebody. I think the most meaningful feedback I get is when people will say, you know, I had a shitty day. I came to your show. You made me laugh. It was just what I needed. Or, you know, my mornings are miserable. I like watching the show. You're the reason I watch the show. It gives me something to, like, that's the kind of stuff to me that I think that I'll internalize more than anything. You know, that's not to say, you know, the negative stuff. I don't know that it necessarily sticks with me for longer than a couple of minutes. You know, I think for me, it's always more or less like, you know, it's not like, oh man, this guy said I suck. Maybe I should really reconsider how I do things.
Right.
It's more like, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
This guy's got a picture of a 75 Cutlass in a eagle with a flag wrapped around it. I don't care what this guy says. It's more that like I get more annoyed than I do hurt.
Well, but you still get annoyed.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just generally annoyed by people. I don't know. I don't know. I live in a perpetual state of annoyance, but you know, it's a low level state of annoyance.
Well, there's in the book, I bring this book up all the time, The Power of Now. He talks about, Eckhart Tolle talks about unconsciousness, and it goes from, he says, from everything to, you know, the really bad, from like, you know, suicide and violence and all this, to most people live with a air conditioner sound behind them, this low level of annoyance that's there, this low level of unease. But I always try to tell people that I really do believe there are only two feelings that we have: fear and love.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do believe with unconditional love, nothing bad comes out of it. With fear, the fake feelings of anger, jealousy, annoyance, fear, fear drives all of that. Envy, jealousy. We want to, somebody else. If you get to the point where you want to see somebody else succeed and you want to see somebody else happy, and then you start saying, I want this person that too. I want this person that too. I want this person that too. So then when they win, you win. Now it's a team, right? And I know it sounds corny or it sounds like a utopia, but I put something on Facebook the other day. I said, if somebody hates me, but I don't hate them and I still love them anyways. And there's different, people joke with me, go, oh, Johnny, you say I love you to everybody. I do, but I love people differently. I love my girlfriend differently than I love some of my friends. I love my parents differently than I know, but I do love people. I love to try to bring out the happiness in people. There was a time in my life when I had two wolves inside of my head. One wanted to bring out the happiness and the other one was fighting back because of my childhood of being bullied, because of my depression, because I was not happy with myself. Once I didn't give a fuck with love, I like to say, meaning I don't give a shit, but I don't give a shit with love. You don't like me? That's great. I'm still going to like you anyways. It's a hard thing to do. Once I start doing that, music sounds better. Things start looking better. And I had a really, really bad week last week. I wanted to be like, I'm done. I don't want to live anymore. What am I going to do? But today, I'm happy as a fucking clam. So, I got to keep trying, right?
Yeah.
And we look at those things and we say, you picked out two things to me. You made me happy in the morning news. Your show really made me smile. That means you remember those. And I bet you remember which ones you were talking about when you described it to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them kind of, I'll be honest, not to sound immodest, but so much of it is on social media that a lot of that just blends and bleeds together every now and again. But no, there are definitely a handful of people who you remember,
right?
for sure. Yeah, who've a certain story or a certain thing going on in their lives, or yeah. I mean, it's you do remember those that are meaningful.
So your wife is amazing. I love her.
Yeah.
I remember the time we walked by. Here we go, Francis Deli, another one right by where I'm at. When I
Yeah.
saw you guys knocked on the window, stopped in, and tell us about Laugh Your Face Off and everything that's going on with that, and the amazing things that you guys are doing, and the amazing attitude that she has.
Yeah.
If she wants to jump on, she could jump on because she has such a beautiful soul. She makes me smile every time I see her. She's a tough woman.
Good luck with that. No, she is incredibly tough. So she's not had an easy road for the last 19 years. 19 years ago, she was diagnosed with a condition called trigeminal neuralgia, which is very succinctly put, something doctors classify it as the worst pain known to mankind. It's a disorder of the trigeminal nerve in your face, which runs. You have two of them. They run each from here to here on each side of your face, and they have branches that go over your eye, your cheek, and your jaw. And somehow that nerve gets damaged, and it misfires, and it causes what patients describe as feeling like you're getting stabbed in the face with an ice pick, like lightning is hitting your face. Burning, throbbing, dull pain. And the attacks can last anywhere from minutes to hours. Some people get them, like Amy, every single day. Other people will get them for periods of time, then go without for a little while, and then get them again. Some people have much more severe cases than others. There's no cure for it. There are some surgical procedures and medications. None of them alleviate the pain forever. And she's had that for 19 years, and it's intensified over the course of 19 years. And she has some other autoimmune issues that have gone along with that complicate things even more. So she's kind of out of options right now. There's really nothing they can do for her pain wise other than treat it with pain relievers. So we hooked up about 6 years now, 5 years ago, with the Facial Pain Research Foundation, which is we're based. I'm on the board of trustees for the foundation now. We're based down in Gainesville, Florida. We fund our own research to cure trigeminal neuralgia. So we've got about 7 or 8 independent research projects right now. So 5 years ago, Amy and I were at an event, and we met the head of the foundation, and we just thought, we got to do something. There's really not much else we can do. So we started Laugh Your Face Off, which is a stand-up comedy fundraiser that you have generously donated your time to for
I love being at that event.
The past 5 years. They love you.
I mean, we had a blast the last time.
Yeah. So we do it. We've done it at the Park West the last 2 years, sold out in a week. And, Amy and I started it. We created it, paid for it, did all that stuff. And we're doing it virtually this year, but we're going to go over 2 million raised in 6 years.
That's
so,
awesome.
and all of that goes to the foundation.
Where do people go to get to find out about that and join in on the virtual party?
Yeah, so it would help if people register at laughyourfaceoff.org. And then once we get their email address, we'll send them the link for where we're going to live stream the show September 12th. So we're going to live stream it. We've got comedians, some from all over the country, who are going to join in this year and stream it live the night of from about 7 to 9 o'clock.
So, when you talk about that, you say with Amy, it's like daily, this pain. And I start thinking about things that are chronic. right? You know, I have a mental illness, and it's, I'm lucky that it goes away. They thought I was bipolar at one point, hypomanic they called it.
Yeah.
Get really, really happy, and I could get really, really down, until I had a really great doctor say to me, John, you know, no, it's your OCD and your depression, and your situations can really bring you up and bring you down. So, you know, we don't think you're hypermanic. I was on Depakote, a bunch of different drugs back then, because they thought I was. But when I know that something's chronic, and like I said, I have this mental illness that does go away on days, that does go away. I feel fantastic for months, and I feel good. And you're telling me she feels this almost every day. How do you guys stay positive with that? And to me, in my heart, that's unbelievable. That to me is like, man, I think about everything that's going on right now. Throw that constant daily physical pain, that takes so much out of you, you know?
Yeah.
How things have shifted for you during this time.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, I don't know how, I mean, that'd be a better question for her, because I don't know how she does it.
Because she smiles, and I know that, you know, she smiles to be kind, but
yeah,
you know, that's what you do, right?
Right.
You could be an asshole and be angry, but every time I see her, she's putting on a smile. And you're telling me she feels this pain every day, but every time I see her, she puts on a smile, and a genuine smile. Her eyes smiling with her.
Yeah, I mean, and she's experiencing it while she's smiling at you, and while she's talking to you, and she's, you know, I've had about 4 months ago, I started getting just, I don't know why, like really bad back pain. I'm going to physical therapy. I can't figure it out. I'm going to get an MRI next week to see what the deal is. I think I've got a disc that's acting pretty goofy. But, you know, over the course of 4 months, I've noticed how, like, you know, when my back hurts, I'm like, it dictates everything I do. It dictates like I can't sit for anymore. I'm in so much pain right now. I'll try lay down and working. Like, it dictates little things like, where am I going to sit to do this writing that I need to do? Where am I going to, I can't write. It just hurts too much. And it just exhausts you. It exhausts you physically. It exhausts you mentally. And how many times I've just, you know, to even get a tiny sliver of a peek into what her daily routine is like, it's humbling, man. It makes me feel like one gigantic pussy. I can tell you that right now. And then, you know, it's also just trying to think of, like, you know, how much more in awe of her I am that she does this every day, and that she's able to function to the degree that she does. And it also, you know, it makes you be introspective too, and then look at how, you know, how am I doing my best to support her, right? And sometimes the answer is no, right? Sometimes you need that, you know, recalibration to.
And that's okay, because you're catching yourself and you're asking yourself that question. That's
right.
A lot of people won't even ask that question. Am I doing enough, or whatever?
And I would like to take a second just to appreciate.
Yeah, well, you could take a lot of seconds.
How you both hold on to, like, love and joy so ferociously to keep going together, regardless of things that you cannot control. You focus on the things that are loving and joyful, and I think that's really great to see. And
absolutely.
She and your relationship is so much more than, you know, what's going on with her internally and what's going on with you, and separate but together. And I just want to appreciate that, because I think that's really beautiful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, this has always been our normal, right? Like, she was sick when we first met, so it's not like we had this life that was, you know, snatched from us, or we had these thoughts and designs on what we were going to do. You know, there was always that sense of this is the reality. And I think the only way it works is if you're completely on the same wavelength. And she and I are very much in sync, personality wise, values wise, you know, how we look at the world, what our priorities are. you know, our tolerance for nonsense. I think a lot of those things have to really line up. So that makes it easier.
Is your stand-up release for you?
What's that?
Is your stand-up comedy routine a release for you?
Yeah, I think it's yeah, for sure.
What's the best thing about that?
What's that?
What's the best thing about it? Release. So what's that best feeling that is that release for you?
I mean, there's no, I can't imagine a better feel. I mean, I'm sure having 1,000 people go nuts after you sing My Way is probably up there, or sing the anthem at Wrigley Field. But that feeling of when you're on stage and in total control of a room, and you're just humming, man. You know, you're like Kerry Wood, you know, striking out 20 guys. You know, like it's just. It's when you're in that zone, it's like there's no better feeling in the world.
Why?
And because it's a high. I mean, I don't know. Why does eating good food feel good? It's just a high. Why does sex feel good? I don't know. It's just a high. That's the thing with stand up. Like any stand up will tell you, like, you know, you don't get those shows every time out there. You'll have good shows. You'll have way more good shows than bad shows. But, you know, the great shows are, you know, those don't happen all the time. Those happen when all the stars are aligned, or, you know, when you're working your way up to record something and your hour is just completely tight. That's not all the time. You know, it's not like, a musician who can get an album that's hot and play those same songs every night for 3 years. You know, it's to come up with the new stuff that people will hear. Yeah, I mean, it's so for me, yeah, it's definitely a release. There's something as a performer that's rewarding about that instant feedback too. Like a lot of times when you do stuff on TV, you don't know if your audience likes it. You don't know if your audience is responding to it. You don't know, you know, sometimes you don't know the quality of it. You think something's good. There are times where you think something's good, but it sucks. You get on stage and it sucks, and you find out immediately. And then you can make adjustments and then make that funny. And I like that about it. I like that instant feedback where, you know, okay, this is something, I'm onto something here. Let me explore this a little bit more. Or I've tried this thing 5 times and it's bombed every time. I'm going to cut that out. For me, I'm not going to say I like that part as much as the performing. The performing is always best, but I really like that technical part of the craft too.
So you talked about TV, and we know, you know, everybody knows WGN's morning news is #1. Everybody watches that show. You guys are fun. I love everybody on there. You know, everybody from everybody. I don't know how many times I've been on there, but a lot of people know you from a show that a lot of people I know, and myself included, loved, called Man of the People. Yeah. And what was your favorite moment on that show? Mine, I loved when you and my buddies did when you did the Jardiniere and the potholes. You know, that was funny. And Jardiniere, just Chicago and Italian right there. Yeah. What was your funniest moment? And I know you had an audience. I know you had people there, but you also went out and did things. So it could have been in the moment of being in the studio or out there. Which one was it? Or you could tell us both. I like that one. I like the one where I went undercover in a West Side barber shop and came out in khakis and a tucked in button down short sleeve shirt and glasses trying to cut guys' hair, and seeing them squirm because their regular guy, Nas the barber, wasn't cutting their hair and I was cutting their hair. I didn't see that one. I got to watch that. Yeah, I'll have to send that one to you. Okay. And then I always liked the mall walking was fun. Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Oh yeah, that's right. The mall walk. Yes.
One of the first ones
yes.
I think one of the ones I had the most fun doing, and it probably didn't resonate with anybody except the people who worked on our show, but You know, I loved going out on the street and meeting. You know, you go out near Clark and Randolph downtown any weekday, and it's like, you know, flies on shit, man. You have that microphone, and every kind is going to come. So if I had found somebody who was particularly interesting, I would get their information to think, maybe I could use this person down the road. And then one time we got 5 of them together for a Man of the People roundtable conversation. And it was an hour of the most batshit insane conversation that I've ever been a part of. And my role during it was to just be the straight man and completely just, you know, prod each of them into these areas that would have them say things that were outrageous. And that was probably the most fun I ever had on that show. Because I kept it in, like, to the point where, like, the crew guys are stifling laughter, trying not to laugh. The guy manning the camera in my face is burying his face in his arm not to laugh. And when it was done and they all left, Johnny, I must have laughed for 25 minutes straight, reliving some of the things that were said in this interview. And it probably only appealed to 10% of our audience. But my God, if I didn't laugh harder at that than anything I did in 2.5 years on that show, I'd be lying.
That's awesome. That's what laughter, like they say, is the best medicine. And when you laugh and you have that bellyache laugh and you're enjoying people, and people are like in a group laughing and feeling good, you know, and nobody's being hurt by it. People are actually laughing with each other. That's the best feeling I can get.
Yeah.
I really like, as I get older, I like laughing at myself. Like, I've broken many chairs. I was at one time, you know, at the doctor's office with my sister, and I'm sitting there like this at my ENT, and it was one of those chairs where it was those wooden chairs, wooden frame, but they had the cushion, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I'm waiting for a doctor, and I'm like, boom. And my sister Lisa, my ass is on the ground, and she's like, oh my God, and I'm just laughing my ass off. The doctor walks in, he's laughing, he's like, Jesus, John. And I did the same thing at Lambeau Field. I did the national anthem. I went to go sit outside in one of the chairs that were the plastic, you know, the heavy ones.
Yeah.
Went right through the damn thing there, and the security guard goes, no, John, it was broken before. I'm like, don't lie to me. But
That was very nice.
Yeah, it was very nice of him, and that's that was good.
Well, that's Wisconsin. Their default is nice.
Oh
yeah, don't you worry about
it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it's okay.
But yeah.
As I get older, I like laughing at myself more.
Yeah.
I like laughing and just seeing how I can make fun of myself. And I don't know what I mean. I think that's good. I like it. And it's something that makes me and makes people let their guard down, because they're like, okay, he could take a joke, he could laugh at himself and not get upset. And that's the biggest thing I want. And that's what this podcast is. You know, we have so many different people coming on with different messages. And yours is obviously what you and Amy go through and how you guys make every day better. But also, you are on TV making people smile. You are out there. I know right now you said because of COVID you can't, but when you're out there performing, I've seen your stand-up many a times, making people laugh. That's all positive. And that's right now what I want to hear. And that's what I want other people to hear, because we need that. We need that now more than ever.